Kia ora listeners, let's learn sumo. I'm Clayton, welcome to the podcast. It's been a little bit, end of the September tournament. I'm back in Australia after my trip to the basho. I'm working on a few more video episodes, so as time allows in editing, I'll release them over the next period. I hope you enjoyed my little tour of the Kokugikan. Don't forget to join me on Instagram or X at Let's Learn Sumo. If you like the content of my podcast or YouTube, you can drop me a donation to my Kimboshi Fund. This just helps pay for some of the subscriptions I use to keep the channel going, helps me keep it moving. The link to my Buy Me a Coffee site is in the comments, and a QR code on my Instagram if you feel so enamored. Big thank you to my first Kimboshi Fund donor, Lanky Sumo from USA. I checked out his Insta. He does have some pretty good shiko stomping going himself. So welcome back after the short interlude from the Grand Sumo Tournaments. Special episode where all the top division wrestlers have made their way to London in the United Kingdom. 2 separate flights, some great images and videos around the city of the rickshaw, playing tourists, going shopping, seeing the various sights and sound that London has to offer, including Buckingham Palace. A good little video of Hoshoryu feeding a hot dog to Onosato, but all the same, pretty good footage. They have built a kind of, let's say, temporary dojo in the Royal London Hall for the 5-day Special Tournament London. There is a video on the Royal Hall Instagram and TikTok. They have used a bit of an artificial surround walls. Then they created a base inside it. They've put a floor down and they've put about 6 inches of dirt on top of that to create the final surface of the dojo. Looks like a really good solution to a temporary basho that they're having. They last visited some 33 years ago when Hakaku was a yokozuna and competed. So it is a full ring. They did do a ring purification ceremony on the dojo. They had the Shinto suspended roof. The chairman, like I said, Hakaku, did a speech at the beginning of day 1 talking about the traditions of sumo. They have one of the NHK English commentators, Hiro, there providing the crowd with some information, also English commentary, and the operation of sumo. So it was pretty well organised from what I saw. We saw a yokozuna rope tying ceremony with Onosato and his 5 tsukabito who joined him to tie the white Suna yokozuna belt around him. That started proceedings off. Then they had a ring entering ceremony from both the east and west sides, which the crowd seemed to enjoy. Midori Fuji was quite popular. Of course, Ura is always popular. Interesting, Takeru Fuji was there, and I did spot a little operation scar on his right inner elbow joint from his bicep tear repair operation recently. So he did attend and did compete in the temporary or the mini basho as it is. This was followed by the yokozuna ring entering ceremonies, the doyo iri, by both Onosato and Hoshoryu. Hiro even gave instructions to the crowd on calling yusho on the stomping of the yokozuna, but he also cautioned them not to call it out during the stomping by the other Mokuchi wrestlers during their preparation. There was a demonstration of the taiko drumming by Yobadashi Keisuke, who did the entry ceremony or the entry drumming. He also was sitting outside the hall, I see, doing some drumming, which a lot of people were watching. Now, after all the demonstrations, it was time to commence the 5-day Special Basho. It's being conducted as a 5-day tournament. A bit more intensity than a Jungyo regional tour, but perhaps not as much intensity and competition as a full Grand Sumo tournament. First bout was Koto Eho and Oshumi. Takeru Fuji had a bout with Roga. The only concerning thing, his arm did look good, but he went down at the end. Takeru Fuji lost that fight, went down to the dojo. He did look like he was in a little bit of pain just for a moment, so that was a little bit concerning. There were a few of the fights, I would call them I wouldn't say performative or demonstrations, but they weren't certainly as competitive as you might see as the basho. Asakoryu and Sadanumi, they had a pretty good bout. It looked a bit more vigorous. Shiranumi got a really good throw on Shodai off the tachiai. It was a really good effort. They had some sponsored fights at a half time, which lasted about half an hour. Then they came back and started the second half with a few sponsored fights. Where they were giving out envelopes for the winner of the basho. Now, Gonayama and Hiradumi, they had a bout. Excellent chest drive by both as Hiradumi then drove Gonayama back while he was trying to get a body grip. Gonayama got a big double inside and drove Hiradumi to the bales, held him there. Hiradumi put up a really good effort to try and desperately defend, but in the end he went back and over Yorakiri. Ayanishiki and Atami Fuji, they went head-to-head. Ayanishiki Komusubi went in fast, get inside, drove Atami Fuji back, but he couldn't finish Atami Fuji off. Atami Fuji defended, got onto the belt to the side of Ayanishiki. It was about a 45-degree angle off the side, and I thought it was an interesting move. He held one hand under the shoulder. His right hand was holding him up at the shoulder, trying to keep Ayanishiki upright and the other hand on the belt. Ayanishiki had his right hand inside on Atami Fuji's belt, but interestingly his left hand was open and was not really doing anything. Now Ayanishiki then used his left hand to smack the inside of Atami Fuji's leg, putting him off balance, and he pulled with the right hand, pulled Atami Fuji down and around Uchimuso. Now, I thought Atami Fuji had the right idea to try and keep Ayanishiki upright with his right hand right up under the shoulder, but he just didn't get control of that left hand, which opened his legs up to that move. He might have tried to keep Ayanishiki even higher to protect his legs. Either way, it was an interesting bout, that one, even if it wasn't a full-blown full-blown basho fight. Anyway, Takayasu and Abi. Takayasu got a good outside right belt grip off the tachiai, but Abi broke the grip, got in position to drive Takayasu to the bales. At the last moment, though, Takayasu moved to the left, got a really good inside grip, and threw Abi down off the body. Last moment as he danced on the bales. Suki Itoshi was the call. Good move by Takayasu. Kitashima and Oho, big charge by Kitashima off the tachiai, ends up with a double inside. Oho drove Kitashima back. Kitashima used the double inside to defend as he pushed Oho across the ring. He kind of Suridashi lifted him to the edge and then a final force out, but they did call it a Yorakiri. But we would have been happy with a Suridashi. Anyway, Wakataka Kage and Tamawashi. Wakataka Kage doesn't fight at half speed anytime. Tamawashi came out with a Nodua, tried to thrust at Wakataka Kage as he defended, slapping the hands away. Tamawashi just kept up the pressure around the ring as Wakataka Kage tried to get inside, but Tamawashi just pressured him with thrusts until Wakataka Kage went back and over the bales. Oshidashi. Two fairly easy bouts for the Yokozuna. Onosato up against Ura. Ura tried going in for a couple of good hits on the chest. Onosato, he just waited for him. Didn't even really power thrust. Ura tried to get a leg pick, but Onosato got on the belt, got a big deep rear belt grip and just used it to Watanage Ura over the bales. Hoshoryu, he faced up with Hakuoho. Hakuoho drove in hard on the chest. Hoshoryu got himself a right inside belt. Hakuoho got a left outside belt, and Hakuoho used the power to drive Hoshoryu back, but Hoshoryu used the belt, locked up the arms of Hakuoho to pull him over the bales, almost Kotanage arm lock, but in the end they called it an Watanage for the throw. They were two fairly easy bouts for the Yokozuna. I don't think there was a whole lot of pressure on them. Good bow twirling ceremony to finish off the day. You could hear the bow sweeping through the air. It was a really good ceremony to watch in that little stadium. It was a pretty good first day. What did I make of it? Well, look, it's certainly not the same level of intensity as the Grand Sumo Tournament. Some of the fights were perhaps what I would call less than competitive. It is clear that some of the fights had good competition and effort by the wrestlers. What you'll probably see over the next 4 days is a little bit more like a jungyo, where the juryo guys come out and do some training and some demonstrations. I hope they do the sumo comedy act they do at some of the jungyo, and I think you'll find that some of those fights will get a little bit more feeling as the 5 days moves along. It will, though, end with both Yokozunas facing each other on the final day. I wouldn't be surprised if both Yokozunas are undefeated, and it's, I wouldn't say fixed, but I think an arranged end for the demonstration, if you can call it that. Anyway, it is worth watching. You can find it on YouTube if you look for it. Just search Sumo Live. I don't think it'll stay up for too long. It is in England time, which is a bit difficult for Australia. So Japan and Australia, we finally get some middle of the night sumo, I think about 3 in the morning for us. But I'll take the general good watching time otherwise to pay for it. So that's it for the London tour. Look, I hope you enjoyed. If you get to see some of it, the crowd over there is very respectful, very appreciative of the sumo coming over. I have heard whispers that next year it might go to Paris, and the year after that it might end up in Los Angeles to coincide with the Olympics. Don't be surprised if something like that happens in future. I'm hoping that prior to the Brisbane Olympics in 2032, that we might see it come to Australia as well. Anyway, that's it for the moment. I'll talk again soon. Hakioi listeners, let's learn sumo.